Hey everybody, it's Blake Freer here with On-Call Compliance Solutions, and I'm back with another compliance tip of the week and more coffee. Today, we're diving into CMMC Control AC.L2-3.1.6. Use non-privileged accounts or roles when accessing non-security functions. When are the permissions gonna end? So hey, if you're a defense contractor who's tired of deciphering cybersecurity controls that sound like they were written by aliens, don't worry, you're in the right place. Here at On-Call Compliance Solutions, we turn confused contractors just like you into on-call compliance heroes. Let's jump into it. So folks, pop quiz time. Would you use a flamethrower to light a birthday cake? You know, that's a terrible question because if I had a flamethrower, I totally would. Anyway, no. Maybe? Okay. Especially if it was one of Elon Musk's flamethrowers, that thing looks pretty cool. Anyway, then why on earth would you use an admin account for everyday tasks like checking emails, browsing the internet, or updating your fantasy football lineup? Although, no, there's still nothing admin you need to do about that. CMMC Control AC.L2-3.1.6 is all about making sure users don't use privileged admin accounts for routine non-security related tasks. Because doing so is like leaving the front door wide open while advertising that you're out of town. Come on in, steal my stuff. Let's break this control down into assessment objectives so you can pass your CMMC Level 2 audit without pulling your hair out. Assessment objectives and how to solve them. First, define and document non-privileged account usage. Documentation required. Account management policy clearly defines the difference between privileged and non-privileged accounts. User account policy specifies that privileged accounts should not be used for non-security functions. Privileged access list. A documented list of users who have privileged accounts and their responsibilities. Technical implementation. Every employee must have a standard user account for daily work, email, documents, web browsing, all the stuff they do day to day. Privileged admin accounts should be only used when performing admin tasks, not for everyday use. Implement role-based access control to enforce this policy. Again, something like Active Directory that essentially enforces the ability for only those with the right permissions and access to the right security functions can actually do something. Here's an example. Bob the IT guy should not be checking his email or watching YouTube tutorials on how to fix the company firewall or get compliant while logged in as an admin. That's an open invitation to malware and hackers. Again, if you're just out there cruising the internet, stuff happens. If you're on an admin account, yeah, stuff can really escalate quickly, right? Lateral hacks, and let's be honest, the Afghanistani technical support people are always so friendly. Restrict privileged account use for security-only functions. Documentation required. System security policy explains when and why privileged accounts should be used. Access control procedures defines who is allowed to have admin rights and when they can use them. Yes, we have to have this stuff in writing, because how else do you prove that you actually trained your IT people? Even if you're the only IT people. I get it, right? So here's the problem, and I'll just kind of sidebar for a minute. Look, one compliance standard to rule them all, and that's what you're required by law to comply with. It doesn't really matter if you're a one-person company or a billion-person company. It doesn't matter. This is the standard. So what do you do if you're a smaller company and you've got challenges that you really don't have enough people to execute a strategy like this? Maybe you're just a one-person show and you have an administrator account because you are the only person in the whole company. Very, very fair scenario. It doesn't change the fact that you still have to have an admin account and a regular user account to pass compliance. Not making this stuff up, okay? So that's where a company like us can come in with a super ridiculously cost-effective approach and rapid implementation to help you get this stuff right, even if you are a micro-sized company. Now, nobody else cares about you because you're small, you're insignificant, there's nothing to you, and you definitely have no money. But I do, and we at On-Call do. Because at the end of the day, we've been in the business of helping small defense contractors stay in the defense industry and provide real competition to the big boys, and frankly, helping you win. That's what we love to do most. Now, if you're a big guy, don't get me wrong, I love you too. We love our larger enterprise companies. We service a lot of them. We service some of the world's largest of certain industries I can't mention. But I can tell you this, whether you're big or you're small, we can help you meet these controls. Now, technical implementation. Use group policies to prevent users from logging into non-admin tasks with admin credentials. Disable privileged accounts from running web browsers and email applications. Implemented multi-factor authentication for privileged accounts. You gotta have it done. Common pitfall. A company once had an IT admin using their privileged account for everything, including downloading random software from the internet to make sure it was okay for their users. Of course, you can probably guess what happened next. malware, ransomware. Look, at the end of the day, no matter how good you are at IT, no matter how many years that you've been doing it, eventually at some point you're going to need some weird tool to fix something. And guess what? You're going to download it in your admin account. It's going to wind up taking over the machine. And now all of a sudden you got this rogue piece of software, or even worse, or a rogue remote user that now has full-blown admin access right into your network. Yeah. It just works like that. It's that fast. What's the solution? Separate your admin and user accounts, period, and only perform admin functions in admin accounts. You know, I got to tell you, it does take a little bit of discipline, especially if you're a smaller company, but there's no other way. I'm sorry. These are the requirements. This is the law. Next, enforce least privilege with automation and monitoring. Documentation required. Privileged access review policy requires periodic reviews of privileged user activity. Automated audit logs, track privileged account usage, and incident response plan defines what happens if someone violates a policy. Now, how about technical implementation? Configure logging and monitoring to track when and where admin accounts are used. Set up alerts if a privileged account logs into a non-security function, and require just-in-time access for admin tasks. Temporary admin privileges only when needed. That's a really great way to do things, right? Windows escalation to a privileged account to get things done, installed, etc. Now, here's a real-world example. A defense contractor once had multiple employees using admin accounts for everything, just because it was easier. Who doesn't like things that are easier? Except that they failed their CMMC audit. Now, they use separate accounts and automated privilege monitoring, and they passed their assessment with flying colors. Whew, man, that was close. Now, final checklist for CMMC. To pass CMMC Control AC.L2-3.1.6, you may need a documented policy requiring separate admin and non-admin accounts, technical controls enforcing least privilege, monitoring and logging of privileged account use, and regular reviews of privileged user activity. If you're missing any of these, your CMMC assessment is going to be harder to pass than growing a mustache when it's not in Movember. That was ad-libbed. It was just going to be a repeat, and I was going to say headache. But for some reason, I think I was looking at my bottom lip, and I was like, there's no mustache there. That'd be pretty tough to grow a mustache there. Has anybody ever seen an upside-down mustache? I digress. Anyway, here's the good news. Because at On Call, we take defense contractors just like you. That's you that's watching this video, who have had this DFARS, NIST, CMMC, ITAR, and EAR information security compliance stuff dropped to their laps like a seagull on a sunny day. Splat. And we teach you how to level up and be a proper on-call compliance hero for your company. And maybe even get out from all the seagull stuff. Yuck. Eliminating gray areas, gaps, and getting this solved, all while showing you how to leverage compliance as your secret weapon to land more defense work with higher profit margins. Now that's what becoming an on-call compliance hero can do for you. And if you're looking for more help getting compliant, our on-call compliance experts are always on call for you. That's a lot of on-calls. I totally interjected another one because I can't read English, apparently. Apparently I just can't read English. But I can rock these scripts, so let's roll. Visit CMMCComplianceSecrets.com or check out the description below for links to get help right now. And if you love the content we're putting out here for you, or maybe you're just tired of banging your head against all this CMMC stuff, freaking out about the certification and self-certification and level 1 or level 2 or level 1 and 2 and 3, gosh. Or maybe you're just really fearing going out and getting a CMMC, whatever, just call us. We exist to help you. And we can't be that expensive because hundreds, I think we've helped over 1,000 clients already. They all bought, so it can't be that expensive. Anyway, we're just here to help. And you know what? We do it for free here on YouTube. So if this is all you ever do with us, awesome. Just smash the like button, just for us. It makes us feel good. It lets us know you're listening and you care. And even better, if you subscribe, an angel gets its wings. A CMMC angel. Yeah, that's close enough. Until the next compliance tip, my friends, stay safe and secure out there, and hit us in the comments below to let us know what you'd like to know more about when it comes to information security and compliance. I'll see you on the next one with wings.